The theory of genes and heredity is accredited to Georg Mendel, an Austrian scientist, because of his work with pea plants in the early 1800s. Mendel's observations became the foundation of modern genetics and the study of heredity. Before Mendel, people thought that you would equally inherit the trait of parent A and parent B. However, Mendel's experiment with pea plants showed that there were dominant and recessive traits that were passed on between two parents. This theory has become known as the law of segregation. Each cell in the human body is composed of 23 chromosomes. Mendel's law of segregation states that you inherit one set of the pair from your father and one set from your mother. However, if one or more of these genes are missing, or if another one is present, the proteins that carry out daily functions may be made incorrectly. This situation causes abnormal development and growth, which results in genetic syndromes. A syndrome is a disease or a disorder. There is a large variety of conditions that a baby can be born with or acquire over time. However, a few common ones are Down syndrome and Huntington's disease. Like a syndrome, a mutation is a natural process that changes a DNA sequence. Mutation creates a variation in proteins coding portions of genes that can affect the protein itself. But even more often, it creates variation in the switches that control when and where the protein is active and how much protein is made. We can sum up the majority of the information we learned in just one word: genetics. Genetics is the study of genes, heredity, and variation in living organisms. It is generally considered a field in biology, but it intersects frequently with many of the life sciences and is strongly linked with the study of information systems. According to the Campbell Biology textbook, genetics is the branch of science concerned with genes, heredity, and variation. It seeks to understand the process of traits inherited from parents to offsprings, including the molecular structure and function of genes behavior, and context of the cells or organisms genes distributed, and the variation of change in population. Gene expression is what leads to the overall physical appearance. Darwin didn't know anything about genes when he wrote The Origin of Species, but he knew that he could see that children have different physical traits that they received from both their mother and their father. Genetics explains why this is the case. Genetic mutations cause the evolution of species that we have today. Without genetics, we wouldn't exist. The central idea of evolution is that all of life on Earth share a common ancestor through the process of descent with modification. The common ancestor of life on Earth gave rise to the fantastic diversity that we see documented in the fossils recorded and around us today. Evolution means that we are all distant cousins. Humans and oak trees, hummingbirds and whales, me and you.